don't know what to do. You don't know if you need to keep doing the same process over and over again. You don't know if you need to change something because you're not getting the results. To feel back in contention after close on to 18 months where I haven't really experienced that was very special.
Good morning to you. Another beautiful morning here in Scotland for this Rolex Series event.
It had felt for a few months prior to that. 1 week my driving would be on, the next week it would be off, the next week the irons would be on, and no week came together where everything actually fired at the same time. The words I'd use to describe it would be bleeped out for most of the interview, if I'm brutally honest.
This week we're at Gullane. It's a little bit burnt out, yellow in colour, just like a links course should be.
Links golf is very much an acquired taste. I can still remember the first time that I'd come across links golf as a 16-year-old youth from South Africa, and I had this ball flight launching at 120 feet above the ground, big high draw, lots of spin, and was very quickly humbled. It's such an art to be able to manufacture a score out there. When we arrived at Gullane on the Monday, it was nice and hard, nice and firm, the greens were great, and it just had a good recipe for good scoring all week. The course record was equaled, if not beaten, a few times during the course of the week, so when I shot the 70 on Thursday, I was actually quite disappointed with that. Kind of felt like there was a lower score out there. Saturday was brilliant. Saturday was massive, not only for that week, but for the season. A bogey-free round of golf, for the way that I was struggling for the first half of the season, was incredible.
I'm sure his dad Kevin and the family Preparatory will be watching this with mounting excitement.
The moment I came off the golf course, my father had a text message because he loves a bogey-free round more than I do. And it wasn't one of those evenings where, you know, you feel like you're in contention, so you're lying on the pillow, you can't get comfortable. It's just kind of a case of, oh, whatever happens today happens. It's been a fantastic week regardless, and let's go see if we can maybe get a fast start and see where it lands us on Sunday afternoon. Tell you what, the first hole was brilliant. Picture book start. Got up and absolutely ripped an iron off the first tee there and hit it to a couple of foot and tapped it in. And then I actually remember walking to the next tee box. I said to my caddy, that was the start that we were after. Let's try and just keep this going. Just keep the momentum, keep firing. Let's see if we can make 18 birdies. You can't make 18 birdies in a round of golf unless you birdie the first two.
Stone birdie putt at 2.
There's a lot of good golfing players who have not been in contention much lately. They're doing it very well.
There was a conversation that my caddy and I had on the Monday, and we felt like we were leaving a few shots out there on the greens, and he said, well, as an amateur, what putter did you use? I said, no, I used a ping and a blade. So he's like, well, you're not using that now. Don't you think you should maybe go back to something that you so used to and have had so much success with? So I was like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. You know, you can't really argue the logic with regards to that. So we threw it in the bag on Monday morning, and I just putted phenomenally. I think I hold more putts on that Sunday round of golf than the entire season combined.
Good putt too. Good to see Brandon playing well again. He moves to 14 under at 31.
When you feel like you're playing well and when you feel like everything's coming together, it's almost as if you're playing PlayStation. You're sitting back, you're just watching yourself play. A lot of players put so much pressure under themselves when they get into that being in contention on a Sunday back nine, and honestly it was like I was playing with 3 of my mates at my local club in South Africa. That's all it came down to.
That's a beauty from Stone.
I remember the putt on par 3, I think it's 12 or 13 if I'm not mistaken, because that was very sneaky. My caddy and I were very uncertain about the line. We weren't certain what was going on, and we just kind of settled on the in-between between what I read and what he had read.
He's judged it beautifully. That's a great birdie for Brandon Stone.
We weren't in the lead, we were just in contention, one of the many guys that had a chance of laying claim to the tournament. and on 15 we hit an absolute beaut of a high floating weight shot to about 2 or 3 feet.
Oh, great shot. That to take the lead outright.
You don't feel in control, but at the same time you don't feel out of control. You just, it feels like you can't miss. It feels like if you look at a putt, it's going to go in.
And he's made it. 8th birdie of the round for Brandon Stone. He now leads the Scottish Open by 1, 3 to play. No wonder he's smiling.
It feels like if the yardage is anything remotely close to what your favorite yardage is, you're going to hit it in there stiff. And I mean, I can remember when we stood on the 16th tee box, I hit my tee shot and I thought, okay, well, that's in the bunker. I've pushed it a little bit.
You're lucky.
And it's gone and carried the bunker by 15 yards.
It's another good drive.
This ball feels like it's never going to stop.
They just never stop running in these hard, fast, bouncy fairways. He's certainly going to be within reach in 2.
We were just having a sociable round of golf. We were chatting about cars, we were chatting about coffee, we were chatting about the most random topics you've ever heard of. On the back nine of a Rolex Series event being in contention.
Take a seat. Come on, settle down. Yeah, good shot.
The only 3 holes I can remember the last 3, because that's when I kind of like woke up to the situation that I was in. And it's so cliche to say, but you almost feel like you're just dazed and zoned out. You're just kind of just there for the walk.
Well, 2 putts here, and we have a 3-stroke cushion.
When we got to the ball and I put a coin behind it, obviously looked down, I had massive swing to it. And my caddy and I, we'd taken a quick glance at it and we'd actually found an old cup right on top of the hill. And I said to him, do you think just rolling around that old cup? And you're like, yeah, perfect. I remember so clearly, as I hit the putt, kept down on it and looked up and it literally just scraped the left edge of that cup. And that was the moment I started walking to the left because I'm like, oh, this has got a chance here. This has got a real chance.
Oh my
yes.
goodness.
When it dropped, the adrenaline just flew. And we probably gave a high five that was a little bit too enthusiastic, but we kind of just felt invincible.
As if 8 birdies wasn't enough, he goes and makes eagle at 16. 1 more birdie for a 59. Unbelievable.
I had absolutely no idea what my score was, where we were sitting, and I remember obviously feeling all the adrenaline. I remember the gallery really doubling in size or tripling in size when we were on the 17th of par 3 there. I mean, I can still remember I was so calm and so relaxed that when I'd finished putting out on 17, there was a gentleman on the walk to the 18th tee box asked for a selfie. It was quite a long walk to the 18th tee box and everyone's shouting at me, you know, you can do it, blah, blah, blah. I'm busy thinking, okay, cool, well, you know, it's like 5-iron or 4-iron, but we had hit driver on Saturday. And I could see my caddy, he's busy walking down and he's busy trying to think, how am I going to convince him not to hit driver here today? How am I going to convince him that it's a 4-iron or a 5-iron down here? Because we hit it greenside on Saturday. And then we walked into the tee box, I put my hand on the drive and he quickly just put his hand on it, said, I'm just messing with you, give me the 5-iron or 6-iron. Knocked it down there. Hit a great approach shot in there. I remember so clearly walking to the front right edge of the green and the massive scoreboard was there. You kind of like count the red dots and you're like, oh, it's more red dots than black plain numbers there. So it's like, whew, 10 under par. I mean, that's a good 62. I mean, hold this one, maybe have 61. And I remember like turning back, I was like, wait, this is a par 70, isn't it? I whipped out the scorecard, took a look at it and I saw par 70. So I was like, wait, 10 minus 70 is 60. So this is a putt for 59.
I've said it so many times over the years. A putt to make a little bit of European Tour history.
And I remember turning back to Tegan and I looked at him, I was like, you know what this putt's for? And he just looks at me and goes, yes.
Potentially this for a 59.
It's a round of 60, a stunning final round from Brandon Stone of South Africa.
It's a conflict of emotions, more than anything else. To have won the Scottish Open, to be a Rolex Series winner is fantastic. But looking back on that now, I will never have the opportunity to be the first player to shoot 59 because that belongs to Oliver Fisher. but at the same time, you can't take anything away from the performance.
20 under par. No one is going to catch that, surely.
Tegan and I, we walked out the scores out, we sat on the couch there and actually FaceTimed my parents. I mean, the emotions were flowing and they were as drunk as skunks. Couldn't understand them. My mom was crying, the dad was crying, the friends that they were all in tears, and eventually I had to hang up because I just couldn't understand them and think that they were having probably the night of their lives. When someone actually came up to me and said, you know, you've won. I mean, the tears were flying, the emotions were everywhere. You think back to those hours of sitting in your hotel room on a Friday evening, the phone calls to my mom where I'm almost bursting into tears because you feel lost. You feel like there's nothing going your way and you can't do anything right. And then to sit there and have dinner that evening with your manager, with your caddy, with your coach and everyone, and have that trophy sitting on the table in front of you with champagne glasses by its side is simply incredible.
Please put your hands together for our champion of the Aberdeen Standard Investments Scottish Open, Brandon Stone.
The energy and the spirit in the camp amongst the team that we had was so incredible, and everyone had been there through the darkest times that we had to the beginning portion of the year, and for it to come together and to be a Rolex Series champion and to be able to have that gold bib around my caddy's shoulders for the rest of the season was worth it. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world.